Welcome back from spring break. I hope you had a great time off. The weather was nice, so welcome back. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. All right, so we're starting a new chapter in math. So it's a very important chapter because they'll be hitting this again in fourth grade, and you want to make sure you have a good understanding of how to do that. So what we're going to do is when we start off a chapter, we always read our story. So we're going to read our story first, and then we'll get into what is long division. All right, so this is Haley, and she is visiting a new park today. And so I put the words on the screen here so you can read along as I read. Resting against a massive tree trunk, Haley and Cyrus stared up into the branches above them. They were on a special trip to Redwood National Park in California today. Cyrus was doing a report on redwood trees, and so today's visit was part of his research. This is incredible, Haley said. I feel so small. Me too, Cyrus agreed. You know, somewhere in this forest is the tallest tree in the world, Hyperion, 379 feet tall. That's in my report. Also, did you know that redwood trees can grow to be 22 feet thick? Goodness, Haley replied, cutting one down would take forever. Maybe that's why these trees have lasted so long, besides the fact that they're protected in a national park, of course. Cyrus giggled. Actually, I read that they last so long because they produce an acid that repels disease and bugs, and because their bark is fire resistant. No wonder they live so long, Haley remarked. Cyrus nodded, then scanned the trees around them. Say, where's your furball? His name is Horatio, Haley jokingly scolded her brother. I don't know where he went. Maybe he's trying to climb to the top of this tree. Cyrus stood up and sauntered over to read a sign by the tree. Well, if he gets to the top, he'll have climbed pretty high. This says that this tree is 368 feet tall. He gazed at the forest towering above him. I wish I could bring my whole class here, so they could see the size of these redwoods, he said. Then he looked at Haley. Could you help me work on my report? I need to help my class realize how tall redwoods are. Haley thought for a moment. Perhaps math could help you. Yeah, math would be a good tool, Cyrus replied. He stared upwards, looking for inspiration. But how exactly? What if your classmates can compare the height of this tree to something they can see, like you, his sister suggested. How tall are you? Cyrus stood up straight. I'm 4 feet tall exactly, he said proudly. So how do I compare my height to this tree's height? Haley patiently explained. We know this redwood tree is about 368 feet tall, and we know that your height is 4 feet. If we divide the height of the tree by your height, we can see how many Cyrus's tall it is. Cyrus grinned. Great idea. He stood stock still as he worked through the math in his head. As her brother was thinking, Haley noticed something far above her on the trunk of the tree that she was leaning against. She squinted at it and then gasped. Hey, there's Horatio! The little squirrel came zipping down the trunk, chattering excitedly about something. Cyrus caught Horatio as the squirrel jumped into his arms. What is it, Furball? Did you get to the top? Horatio seemed to nod his little head, still chattering. Cyrus looked up at the tree with wonder. Good job, Horatio. Haley stroked the squirrel's tail, then looked at Cyrus. So do you realize we used another biblical truth view about math today? Cyrus stared at her in amazement. Seriously? And I can't read the rest of this. Let me see if I can find it in my book real quick. There it is. Seriously, okay? I know math shows the world is design. Math helps people help people. Math helps us do work, and math has limits. Which one was it? All right, so which biblical world truth were they talking about? So math is a tool to help people work because he was trying to figure out how tall he was in comparison to that big tree. All right, let's review. 5 times 4 is 20. 7 times 3 is 21. 8 times 6 is 48. 2 times 9 is 18. 1 times 7 is 7. All right, so now they're going to review a math fact, but they're going to show you how to do this math fact using the long addition way of dividing. So Austin has 18 pieces of candy to replace in 3 bags. How many pieces can Austin put into each bag? All right, so this is the old way that we used to do it. We would this is the way they wrote it horizontally. 18 divided by 3 equals, and then remember how they did that when they would just go one by one, filling in the blanks in this 10 frame? So after they counted in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, They count out 18 of those out, and in each box they got 6. So they know that the answer will be 6. The reason why we're doing this is because we're going to show you how to do that, and it's covering up here with my box here. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully it's not covering up anything too important, but this is another way to write division. So the 18, this is the dividend, and the divisor and the quotient is the answer. All right, so look, basically this right here, let me see if I can circle it. This is what was blocking on my original page right there. All right, so what they're going to do is long division here. So I need to erase that actually. So basically the next step. So we know 3 times 6 is 18. So 3 times 6 equals 18. All right, so the next step was to put the 18 right below the 18 right here, and they're going to subtract that. Because when you do long division, you're going to keep dividing until you get to 0 or less than what your divisor is right here. So if you get like 2 or less, then you will have a remainder, but that's something you'll do next year. So basically you subtract, you divide, you multiply and subtract until you get to 0. So now we know 18 minus 18 is 0. So you write that over here. And when you get to the 0, that means you're done with long division. All right, so 2 divided by 12. All right, so let me see if I can write on here. Got the eraser. All right, so I know 2 times 6 is 12. So what I do next, my next step is do 2 times 6, and I write that answer over here. And then I put a minus sign, and I subtract. Now I know 12 minus 12, that's 0, so that means I'm done with my long division. All right, so you'll see the steps here. You actually have to show the steps today on your workbook page. All right, 9 times 5 is 45. And I just put the answer here. And I just subtract. Oh, there it goes. And I get a 0, so I know that I'm done multiplying and dividing. This is just basic long division because you don't have any answers that can be multiplied more than once or divided more than once. You get the answer right away. So what we say you can't go 6 into 2, so now we do 6 into 24. Same thing with here. 9 can't go into 4, but 9 can go into 45. So you have to look at the first number. So if we go back and look at 12 divided by 2 right here, if I say 2 divided into 1, I can't do that, can I? No. So then I need to go to the next number, 12 divided by 2. All right, so looking at this number, can I do 2 divided by 6? No. So now can I do 24 divided by 6? Yes, and that answer is going to be 4. Now I multiply 4 times 6, and that equals 24. Then I subtract and I get 0. All right, so this is what your workup page is going to look like today. So it's really important that you work these out on your workbook page so that you know what you're doing. All right, so this one, we have 12 divided by 3. 12 cars divided into 3 equal sets. So I know that 3 times 4 is 12. So what they did was 12 divided by 3 is 4. So now we multiply 4 times 3, or 3 times 4, and that's going to equal 12. And your last step in this long division process is to subtract this number here from here. All right, now you do 12 minus 12, and you get 0. All right, so this little grid here is to help you with organizing your numbers. Hey everyone. All right, so I had to re-record this one a couple times because it keeps clicking off for some reason. This is your Serve with Math page. 300. All right, I'm writing my name right here. Do you guys remember what the biblical world truth was? Math helps people what? To do work, right? So you're going to write that over here on the top. Oh, what's going on? Okay. Ooh, that was not good. Okay, let me just write it with my finger. This is not working very well. Math helps people see. I've got my pen here that I can use, but it only works on my tablet. All right, helps people do work. All right, so this is another example of what it's going to be on your worksheet today. All right, they didn't give us much practice with it. Haley is helping Cyrus practice long division by dividing 21 stones into 7 equal sets. How many stones are in each set? I know 21 divided by 7 is 3. Okay, and you're going to put this 3 over the 1 right here. When you're dividing it by a number, you want to go all the way to the end of it to put that number when you're doing long division. You don't want to put it over the 2 because that would be like if you're dividing 7 into 2. But we're not dividing 7 into 2, we're dividing 7 into 21. So the next step is to multiply, right? Now we're going to do 3 times 7. All right, 3 times 7, that equals 21. All right, so I need to write that down here. That's my next step, 21. All right, what's the next step? Looks like I need to subtract. 21 minus 21 equals 0. It's not always going to be this easy, guys. This is just starting you off. It's not always going to be perfectly equal and equal to 0 every time. So how many stones are in each set? We'd say there are 3 stones in each set. Alright, so I'm not going to write this whole thing in each set. Alright, there we go. Next time maybe I'll try to tape this on my tablet so it's easier to write. Alright, so that is the end of that. We're not doing the rest of that page. What you are going to be doing today is page 301 and 302. And it starts off with 24 divided by 4. And so we know 24 divided by 4 is 6. So then you just write 6 in that first blank. And then you do your multiplication. That's your next step. You do 4 times 6, and that equals 24. The third step is to do the subtraction. So first you got to do your division, then you're multiplying, and then you got to subtract to get to 0. So those are your 3 steps today. Let me know if you have any questions. This is just the simple way, and then we're going to get more into it throughout this week. So make sure you complete 301 and 302. You can email it to me to let me know that you did it, or set it up in Google Classroom. And let me know if you have questions.